space, 4, and 5-dimensional to infinity. Space-time was 1. This at 1 is what Buddhism refers to as the one true Dharma realm. So, if it was the one true Dharma realm, how did it end up becoming countless Dharma realms? In Buddhism, when we talk about Dharma realms, it's actually what scientists refer to as different dimensional times and spaces. A 3-dimensional space is one system, 4-dimensional space is another. The 5th and 6th degrees are different realms. We can't reach them. These days, we can only see 3-dimensional space. We can only interact with the 3-dimensional world. The 4th and 5th dimensions are beyond our reach. For those countless, boundless Dharma realms, we can only interact with our human Dharma realm. In animal Dharma realm we see some we can't. Why only see part of them? Well, this part of the animals also lives in the 3-dimensional space, so we can see them. But if they exist in the 4th or 5th dimension, then we simply can't see them. That's just how it works. Second, what about entering meditation? Meditation is about having a pure mind, temporarily subduing the scattered mind. Once the mind is subdued, your sense of space expands and breaks through its limits. The deeper your meditation, the greater the breakthrough in space. A shallow level of meditation can break through the 3rd dimension and let you see the 4th. We say they have special powers. Deeper meditation. Well, if you break through another dimension, you can see the 5th dimension. It's as simple as that. So now, there's a very popular and remarkable book in the West, as you may know, which talks in detail about the Bible code of prophecy. Maybe some of you have read it. The author of this book is actually quite objective. He says that these prophecies are so accurate, and the book was written 3,000 years ago. But he's very certain it's definitely not God. If it were God, he should be able to solve these problems. But since he can't solve them and can only warn us that these disasters will happen, it shows that it's not God. So his guess is that it must have been written by someone very wise and compassionate. He's rational and unsuperstitious. Now, some people have asked me, how is it possible that events 3,000 years in the future could be described so clearly and in such detail? G. Yuga once told us that there are 2 main sources for these prophecies, and there are quite a few prophecies in China as well. Back when Elder Layman Li Binnan was still alive, we also sought his advice on this. His explanation was the same. He said the first type is based on mathematics. Most are deduced through mathematical reasoning. Many Chinese prophecies are worked out mathematically, so their foundation is the I Ching. The I Ching is advanced mathematics, and mathematics is the mother of all sciences. You know. Like in China, fortune-telling and face reading are really popular, and they are all based on the I Ching, all grounded in numerology. But numerology is indirect, not direct. If there's even a slight miscalculation, the outcome will be different. In other words, its accuracy can reach 50, 60, or 70%. It's not completely perfect. It really depends on the skill level of the person doing the calculations. there's absolutely no difference between the two. But if you look at it from the perspective of meditative attainment, then it's completely different. Meditative attainment is limited in scope. It's what he personally witnessed. That's not inference. So this calculation is inference, but this is direct perception. So, the person who wrote the Bible code, he saw it within the state of meditative concentration. Seeing things from years before or after while in meditation isn't anything out of the ordinary. Why would that be strange? A day in is 100 years in our human world. So, what about a day in the world of immortals? In the world of immortals, a month there is a year here in the human world. If you go even higher, it gets even easier. A day in the night demon heaven is 200 years in the human world, so their lifespan is unbeatable. Go up again and you reach the Doshui heaven, where a day is 400 years in the human world. So from this, we can see that if you reach the 6th heaven of the desire realm, not even 3 years here is a single day there. With all the things that happen in a day, how could they not see everything clearly? Of course it is clear. So, the person who wrote this book, from the perspective of our Buddhist community, has achieved deep meditative concentration. Concentration breaks limits of time and space. Science understands this principle now. They acknowledge it, they're sure of it, but at the moment, they just can't find a way to actually enter a time tunnel. What's specifically called a time tunnel? How can you enter the future or go back to the past? They know it's all theoretically possible, but right now, they just don't have the technology. What they don't realize is that, in ancient Buddhism, meditation is exactly this technology. Once you enter deep meditation, you can go back to the past or move into the future. That's how the Bible code came about, which is why its accuracy is 100%. So, can this sentence structure be changed? Yes, it can. This way of saying it is appropriate. Disasters can be averted, but how can they be resolved? It's all about people's hearts. If everyone turns towards kindness, the disaster will be resolved. You can see that it also regards good and evil deeds, including not only outward actions but also the actions and intentions of the heart, as the key to shifting fortune and misfortune in this world. This view is absolutely correct, as it recognizes that our inner thoughts and motivations are just as important as our external behaviors. Now, this book is very popular around the world, with many translated versions. In Taiwan, we've also seen a Chinese translation. It's something we should be wary of. If we want to save ourselves, save society, and save everyone, we must understand how to stop doing evil and cultivate goodness. And when it comes to teaching people to stop doing evil and do good, nothing surpasses the Kittagarbha Bodhisattva's original Vows Sutra. That's why, during the grand and significant assembly at the Triastriya heaven, the world-honored one solemnly entrusted Kittagarbha Bodhisattva with the important and compassionate task of saving sentient beings from the very beginning of the Dharma-ending age, continuing all the way until Maitreya Buddha finally appears. This was, without any doubt, absolutely the right decision, and we can be completely certain of that fact. Kittagarbha Bodhisattva is now in charge of guiding and teaching sentient beings. Guanyin, Manjushri, Samantabhadra and Maitreya assist Kitigarbha Bodhisattva. It's like in this campus, inside the teaching building, Kitigarbha is the principal. Since the Buddha is not in the world, he represents the Buddha. All the other bodhisattvas come to support Kitigarbha, helping him to guide and teach these suffering beings. The main arhat enters samadhi, breaking through time and space in meditation. He saw the terrifying and desolate hell realms, and he personally witnessed the mother of Guanyu suffering there, enduring immense, unimaginable pain and torment. After coming out of samadhi, the arhat asked Guanyu, "What kind of deeds did your mother do while she was alive? Now he is suffering greatly in my place." So, he was asking Guanyu, "What did your mother do when she was alive?" Actually, this is the text in the scriptures which says what kind of sins she committed, and now she is in hell, suffering very much. Guanyu replied honestly, telling him, "My mother was fond of," and here, fond means she liked, she enjoyed, she took great pleasure in, she especially loved eating fish bladder meat. In today's terms, that's what we would call seafood. She was really, truly keen on eating seafood, and it was something she looked forward to and enjoyed very much. She said she ate so much fish bladder that she even lost many of her teeth, really loved these things. Whether stir-fried or boiled, it is nourishing and tasty. If you count up the number of lives taken, it's in the millions. Buddhas and truly compassionate beings, how could they possibly save her? These days, we say there's no sin in eating meat. Does that really make sense? We really need to wake up. So after reading this scripture and understanding the real truth, how could you dare to eat the flesh of living beings? Especially if you really enjoy eating fish roe or small fish, just think for a moment, how many tiny lives are there in a single plate or bowl, all together? How serious is this killing karma? And the resentment and hatred of those beings that were killed, how deep do you think it goes? Do you really think they are willing to let you eat them? If they were willing to offer their flesh, they'd be bodhisattvas, not ordinary beings. As long as it's a sentient being, just watch closely when you try to catch it. It tries to escape for its life. It's not willingly letting you eat it. If you want to kill a pig and you call the pig over, saying, "Come here, let me kill you so I can eat your meat," do you think it would just obediently come to you? The moment it sees the knife, it gets terrified and runs everywhere. He knows that you want to kill him, and yet you catch it and kill it. It's just that it doesn't have the ability to fight back. Think about how deep that resentment must be. It creates grudges and enmity. Humans don't have only this life, there's another life too. Animals also have future lives, and when circumstances allow, reason not to retaliate. do wars in this world come about? According to Buddhism, they all stem from killing and eating meat. The Buddha once said that if we want a world without weapons and war in our lives, among all people, he said, unless all beings stop eating meat. So if all beings stop eating meat, what about war in this world? These disasters would no longer exist. In other words, as long as beings in this world keep eating meat, wars and violence are bound to continue. Why is it that each war nowadays is more brutal than the last? Karmic debt of inner afflictions weighs heavy. From what we remember, as we recall, there was the First World War and the Second World War. The scenes of death and cruelty were shocking. The First World War involved many countries. The second was much more serious. If there's a third, a nuclear war, it would be absolutely catastrophic. When you think about it, what the Buddha said really makes sense. The karma we create today is just like the mother of Kwangmu and her daughter entangling for 10 generations. People are willing to eat meat and prey on the strong. How can that be all right? Just count the number of lives involved. It's in the tens of millions, not just 1,000 or 10,000 lives. It keeps multiplying many times over. All the beings she killed and ate in her lifetime. This is the karma she has created. The next two lines are a plea. How can this Dharma master save her? The Venerable One is compassionate. The Venerable One refers to someone we deeply respect, like a respected Dharma master or an honored arhat. You really must help. Please find a way to save her mother. The arhat, seeing such a truly devoted, compassionate, and filial daughter, recognizes her heartfelt devotion. He felt great sympathy for her and gave her guidance. He advised Lady Guang, saying, if you sincerely recite the name of the pure lotus Mother Tathagata and build an image or a place for teaching the Dharma, you will surely receive blessings. The key here is, in particular, the phrase sincerely recite. With a genuine heart. All you Buddhas, what we see in this sutra is that for the gravest and most serious of all karmic offenses in existence, and for saving the suffering most, the main method taught for deliverance is reciting the Buddha's name. All must understand this principle. Why didn't the sutra teach her recite Amitabha Buddha's name? The Buddha explained it. Correct phrasing, punctuation, and lack of it all matter. Can you all see this here? This was an unimaginably countless number of eons ago, in the distant past, and the Buddha who appeared in that world was the pure lotus Mother Tathagata, who was truly their original and fundamental teacher. And the advised him to recite the name of the original teacher Buddha and to create images of the Buddha. This brings great merit. By dedicating the merit to our Buddha and to Avalokiteshvara. Then, when you continue to cultivate merit, you receive the Buddha's blessings, and as your mother, I also receive the Buddha's blessings. So he was taught to do these things. Of course, the Arhat also very carefully explained the important teachings and principles to him. He clarified these principles and the true nature of things for him. When reviewing the scriptural texts, we must be clear and understand them thoroughly. When one delights in my words, that is what people in this world love, using paintings or images of the Buddha to make offerings. With a heart full of respect for the Buddha, one is blessed and protected by him. This is about practicing according to the teachings. What people love in this world is wealth and possessions. One should use their own wealth in a thoughtful manner to create images. These days, taking photos is much more convenient than it used to be. In the past, as you all know, making images was, of course, completely done by hand. The process was extremely slow. Sculpting a statue would take a very long time just to finish one good piece. A really good one at that. Even painting was no easy task. Painting a single image of the Buddha could take many days. As we know, with today's advanced technology, when making Buddha statues, we can, in general, first create a model. As people know now, mass production nowadays allows us to provide these to many people for making offerings, and the merit that results from this is even more significant. And now paintings can be printed. You can create a truly radiant and luminous image of a Buddha or Bodhisattva, and with just a single print run, you can easily produce tens of thousands, or even hundreds of thousands, and sometimes even millions or tens of millions of copies, all from that one original creation. These can be widely distributed to everyone for offering. So, for people today, accumulating merit is much more convenient than it was in the past. It's easier for people to create negative karma, but gaining merit is easier, per Kitigarbha Sutra. Although people in Jambudva are good at doing wrong, they change easily. If someone guides them, they can change fast. Among all the Bodhisattvas, none is more exceptional than Kitigarbha Bodhisattva. Kitigarbha Bodhisattva manifested in our world at Mount Jiahua, and Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva manifested at Mount Puduor. We Chinese are fortunate to have a special connection. So the Sutra of the original Vows of Kittagarbha Bodhisattva during the Kanchi period was annotated by King Mingfasi, and the commentary is exceptionally well done. Although the language is a bit deep and sometimes difficult to fully understand for many people in the present day, in fact, it's actually really quite convenient for us. To study classical Chinese, we can treat this commentary on the Sutra of the original Vows of Kittagarbha Bodhisattva as a classical text to read. Wouldn't that be really great? If we have the opportunity or the chance in the future, we could perhaps find some time to carefully and thoroughly go through this commentary in detail, just like we do with classical texts, taking our time to really understand and discuss it. That way, our understanding of Chinese language and literature can be taken to another level in so many different ways. And we'll also gain a deeper and more thorough understanding, truly, of the content of this sutra. It will bring us even greater benefits in our daily lives, work, and how we interact with others, just like the sutra says, the inconceivable merits and benefits. We are living in this truly remarkable modern era, a time of ongoing change. Most people in society see the teachings of Buddhism as just a religion. This has caused many of us who study Buddhism, especially in our studies, to lose our way. That's truly unfortunate. If you have the chance to come into contact with the true Dharma, then you have a responsibility. To explain the true face of Buddhism to the wider community so that everyone, regardless of their background, can truly and deeply comprehend and understand that Buddhism isn't a religion, nor is it a philosophy. So, what exactly is it, then? It's truly an education for life, a teaching that dispels confusion and brings lasting enlightenment, a guide to leaving suffering behind and, ultimately, finding happiness. Only by having a correct and pure understanding of it can we gain real benefit. Now, this section is about observation and acceptance. With such selfless guidance, we should go back and put the teachings into practice. Evil harms by cutting off greed. Greed is the root of all afflictions. Every single trouble arises from it. So, this is what it means to cut off all evil. By speaking, by making offerings to the images of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, and by practicing all forms of goodness.